Welcome to the Smoke and Mirrors podcast, your destination for the latest in movie news and reviews. We're your hosts, Rob and Triz. This week, the Phantom of the Freeze Frame, the no-show slow-mo, the Doctor of the Split Diopter, the King of the Tracking Shot, show enough of the extreme close-up. That's right, tonight, we're talking the return of Scorcese to cinemas in Killers of the Flower Moon. We're also talking Gen V, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Loki. Quite a packed show there, big dog.
Boo boo boo!
Click, click, click. Now let's start the show.
This follows up from the events of the last episode where we find out that Luke's ex-girlfriend, or however you want to put it, is the one that has been, stopping them from remembering what had happened and them flitting to different spaces. So, see everything going on from there. Pretty shitty for this chick to do that, but they give you an explanation of her when they delve into a psyche of why she does what she needs to do.
Yeah. I did like the concept, though, of bringing you into my conscious mind.
Yeah.
And keeping you trapped there, which was wild because that's where all the secrets came out.
Yeah.
Which was like, that was pretty cool. But I did find it weird that when they got to Marie's past, that there was nothing exposed there. That she was able to just like, I know you're in there, Kate. Set us free. It was like, all right.
Yeah. Give us free. It was very Inception how your conscience can become aware of you and then attack you as well. Yeah. And almost like playing on your fears.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't mind the episode. Only because of that concept, but yeah. See how it goes in the next episode. Because Kate looks like she's just gonna her head's gonna explode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, them eyes. Every time I see the eyes, I'm like, this bitch is dying this episode.
100%. She's following that same arc as Daniel Radcliffe did in Horns. Remember, I was just progressively more fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, shit. But yeah, take us into the anime corner there, Bado.
No worries. Alrighty, so Jujutsu Kaisen, my apologies for last week. What I forgot to mention was that Nanami finally starts to kick some ass. So if anyone who doesn't know Nanami is one of the original Jujutsu Kaisen sorcerers who did study there, but he decided to leave and then became part of the corporate workforce. So this man so homie is all about efficiency, right? Like, and he does have some interactions with Yuji in the previous season, but for this one, with knowing that Gojo is sealed, he's turned into like this fucking... He's turned into a crazy person, basically. Like, he's still very, like, cool, calm, and collected, but he's a lot more violent in what he does. So, in the last episode, which I forgot to mention, was that he begins an interrogation scene with one of the guys who have invaded Shibuya, and it's fucking brutal. Like, he is fucking this dude up. And he's not, like, screaming, yelling, nothing. He is, like I said, cool, calm, collected, but he is destroying this guy. Like, he's fucking smacking him into walls, he's fucking throwing him across a room, and all he's doing is just asking questions about where the fuck Gito is so he can get his hands on him as well. Now, Nanami's very cool. He doesn't have the same sorcerer's uniform. He's still very much corporate, so he's wearing a suit with a button-up and a tie, but it's very, like, playful colors. So he's wearing like a light blue shirt, but then he's got this leopard print tie, but it's got cursed energy through it. So he puts it over his hand like fucking, and it acts like brass knuckles, basically.
It's classic.
Really... Yes, the silk brass knuckle, my favorite. So at the end of that last episode, Yuji is on his way back to the center of Shibuya Central to the train station, and he runs into Chozo, which is one of the bad guys. Funnily enough, we speak about Gen V. He's very much like Marie. He's a bloodmancer, which is a cool name. Yeah. It's fucking excellent. So this episode that I'm talking about now, with the most current one, is where Yuji ends up fighting this guy. And Yuji is getting pieced the fuck up by this dude. So Yuji's trying to work out how to get into his defenses, because this dude is, He's great up close, and he's great in range as well, because he can crystallize his blood and throw it at you like it's darts and shit like that. So Yuji's trying to find an in to try and hit this guy, because Yuji's very close up. And this guy just keeps piecing him the fuck up. Every single time he thinks he has a counter, this dude counters the counter. So he's just like fucking awesome in close and far. And just the animation for this scene was fucking cool. It wasn't your normal side-scrolling anime fight scene. It was very much like revolving around the characters as they're fighting as well, which was awesome. And it hits this point where you're just like, there's no way that I can beat this guy in traditional means. And that's when Mechamaru, that earpiece that I mentioned a few episodes ago, comes up again, and he's like, I've been conserving my energy, but now I'm finally here to give you some tips. And he's like, you've got like a 2% chance of this working, but you need to make a beeline for the bathroom. And so Yuji's like, oh, fuck it. I've got nothing else. I'm going to fucking sprint. So he fucking makes it to the bathroom and hits all the sprinklers on. And with the sprinklers, because this guy summons blood externally from himself, fucking the blood starts melting away with the sprinklers. And it turns into this awesome, like, Mission Impossible Fallout and small fucking bathroom stall, which was fucking awesome. Yeah.
That's sick.
But at the end of this, Yuji loses regardless, and Yuji fucking dies. And fucking, so he gets shot directly through his fucking liver by one of those blood shots. This guy was hiding it, and then fucking shoots it through him. And he's bleeding out. He's still continuing the fight. And you're thinking, all right, cool. Yuji, like, he has like a demon entity inside of him that normally comes out at this point in time. And as Yuji's bleeding out and losing, all this guy says is that you're a fool and doesn't change. And Yuji's left there to fucking die.
I must release this demon.
In a bathroom of all fucking places. But yeah, so well, I don't know what happens after this episode, but Yuji is basically dead. And that's where this episode fucking ends. So this whole 23 minutes was just all fight scene, which was fucking incredible. But Yuji is believed to be dead right now. And no one else knows about it just yet. Because the Mechamaru earpiece got destroyed midway through this fight. So he's left there in the bathroom stall, and Chozo, because Yuji had killed his brothers before, now he's exacted his revenge, so now he can, you know, go back and live his fucking life.
Jeez.
But yeah, this was crazy. This was like a really exciting episode of Jujutsu for me. I fucking loved it.
Yeah. Shit. Very good there, Bado.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on to Loki, Season 2, Episode 3. This one set in 1920.
I think it was
1893. 1893.
1878 and 1893.
Yeah.
Because it's 25 years or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. This one was really about Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Minutes and what they've kind of been up to. It's always the story of the fucking loom and how to retrofit it and whatnot. So Loki and Mobius go back in time to try find Miss Minutes, but instead focus their efforts on getting the variant of Kang. This very, very young Kang during the time of the fucking Chicago Fair in 1893, which is wild because he actually talks about H.H. Holmes, which is fucking crazy, the devil in the White City.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so Miss Minutes, who has like a real evil side in this episode, I was just like a little bit scared of Miss Minutes, to be honest.
Yeah, very super fan, crazy girlfriend type energy.
Yeah. It was almost like fucking Megan or Chucky or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like trying to get that sort of energy. And then, yeah, eventually Renslayer, Mobius, and Loki, plus Sylvie also show up. So Sylvie's kind of like the wild card now. I don't know why she's got so much fucking access to everyone. Like, she can just like, yeah, I'm just going to jump into this timeline and whatnot. But for me, it's almost like she fucks everything up as soon as she enters the scene. And not from like a story perspective, just from like a character motivational perspective of like,
100%.
Just let these people do their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's very annoying to have Sylvie as like this stubborn, biased sort of introduction to the season, Because it
Yep.
felt like she had a lot more potential to be a lot more open-minded in the previous season compared to this. And
Yeah.
now they've just written a very one-sided character for her in this season.
Yeah. Where she is so set on just destroying every variant. Whereas, like you said, the last season, it was about her opening Loki's eyes.
Yeah.
And then that's his character progression. I thought that worked really, really well because he was fighting against it, and then now he's on the side of it. And then this time it's like, okay, let's double down on that whole Loki and Sylvie sort of their rivalry almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was. I think this episode was cool with some of the introductions. I
Yep.
thought it was fucking crazy that Jonathan Majors showed up. I didn't think he was going to show up at all. But
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors, in classic fashion, just does what he needed to do. I thought he was pretty good on screen. It was very, like, off-putting with the accent, with the stutter.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I could really take negatively from his performance. He's normally very good on stage as well. I think his He Who Remains is still my favorite variant of Kang, or the original Kang, OG Kang, OGK. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Victor Timely.
Yeah. So hopefully we kind of get this weird dynamic where he's helping the TVA restore the loom, but you don't know if he's gonna like turn around and be like, "I am Kang," you know what I mean? Because he's supposed to turn into that Kang.
Yeah. So I'm more so thinking on the lines of he's going to repair the loom, but very much like other prototypes that he's sold, they've just broken. So I feel like what this is going to do is that it's going to fix the loom for a time, and then it's just going to branch out even worse.
Yeah. And then what's the secret that Miss Minutes has on Renslayer?
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
I reckon she's the daughter of Kang.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
That'd be a bit wild.
Also, the time elapsed from Kang as He Who Remains to now, with him actually being decomposing in that chair, that's a long time. So I wonder how far in the future it has been.
Yeah. And are they locked there? Or can Miss Minutes get them out? I don't know. But it's weird these sort of alliances, uneasy alliances almost that they have to make. I hope they actually have a payoff for it though.
Yeah. I noticed when... Not noticed, but I thought it was kind of funny how Ravonna just took Miss Minutes back straight away at the end of this episode. There was no conversation. It was just like, well.
Yeah. Like she's playing the game. Strategic almost.
Yeah.
Like, well, what she says to her might also be strategic, so you don't even know. Like she's not a trustworthy character at this point.
Yeah. Like, is it just like literally thick as thieves? But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we got 3 more episodes, so this is probably going to pop off very soon. Or at least I hope it's going to pop off very soon.
3 more episodes?
Yeah, this is only a 6-episode season.
Damn. I gotta say, Loki season 1 by this point had done some shit.
Yeah.
There was some ground covered.
Yeah.
This is not covering ground like Loki season 1.
100%.
There's too much focus on that fucking loom.
Yeah. 100%. I think they really were trying to get their money's worth with Kiwi Kwan.
Yeah. Ouroboros.
But I think in the first 2 episodes of the first season of Loki, if we're being honest, they already had that awesome like cinematography and set piece when they arrive at that mall as well in the rain during monsoon season.
Yeah.
And there was a lot more fear and a feeling of unknown with not knowing who this variant of Loki would be and what the fuck's going on.
Yep. Yeah.
A stronger narrative, I should say.
Yeah. We'll see. 3 episodes. Kind of a downer, to be honest.
It's trash.
It's time for our feature presentation there. All right. Killers of the Flower Moon, big dog. Take us into the synopsis.
Yep. So oil is discovered in Oklahoma by the Osage Nation in the 1920s. They prosper for a while, but are soon murdered one by one until the FBI steps in to investigate. So for our cast here, I've only got a few of them. So we have Leonardo DiCaprio as Ernest Burkhart. We also have Robert De Niro as William Hale, Lily Gladstone as Molly Burkhart, Jesse Plemons as Tom White. We have Tantu as W.S. Hamilton, John Lithgow as Peter Leeward, Cara Jade Myers as Anna, and Gillian Dion as Millie. So, for our technical breakdown, if I butcher this, I apologize. But for our runtime, it ran for approximately 3 hours and 26 minutes. I know, right? For our sound mix, we had a mix of Dolby Atmos, Dolby Digital, as well as IMAX 6-track, which we got to feel in the IMAX cinema. Pause. So, for our
Respectfully.
So, with the color spectrum for this film, we did have normal color throughout the majority of it, but we did have some black and white scenes. For our aspect ratio, there was some shots that were done at 1:33 by 1, but majority of the time it was 2:39 by 1. For the cameras utilized on this, Scorsese used the Aricam LT, the Aricam ST, the Bell & Howell 2709 for some of the scenes, as well as the Sony Cinealta Venice with a Panavision T-Series lens. So this was done with a Company 3 digital intermediate. For our negative format, we had a 35mm, and as well as that was a 500T 5219 and an AXS R7, which is 4K. For our cinematographic process, we had a digital intermediate, which is 4K for the master format. We had Panavision anamorphic for the source format, and then spherical source format for some of the scenes as well. For our printed film format, we had D-Cinema, as well as DCP, which is Digital Cinema Package, or 4K.
Very good there, Bado. That 6-track in the IMAX was crazy.
Yeah.
Because you could actually, sort of hear the layers to it.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit more clearly than I've heard in some of the cinemas that we've had so far.
100%. I'm definitely keen to watch a few more films at the IMAX just because of how nuanced the sound was. That's the best way to put it, was that we finally got separation for the speakers.
All right. Thanks for that, Bado. So, getting into what the audience wants to know, or potential audience, is this movie worth the price of admission for you?
So, for me personally, I'd say yes. And that's coming from a fan's point of view. I believe it was worth a ticket. However, you have to be ready for a long ride considering the runtime we mentioned before. So Scorsese never ceases to amaze, and that's why I'm very much a yes, but there can sometimes be a caveat to that amazement, i.e. the runtime, or even some of the long takes as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I 100% agree with that. I would say yes, go see it in the cinema, as if you're not going to go see it. It is Scorsese. So you're rocking up there. It's very long. 3 hours and 26 minutes is extremely long when you're sitting in a cinema. So I can see why the appeal would sort of be there to also launch it on streaming sometime down the track. The film's really good. The performances are there. The story is extremely engaging, but it's heavy. And it's heavy as fuck. And it's not light work. And in some cases, I thought that where they injected levity just was ill-placed. But yeah, it's absolutely worth just experiencing it. It's not a movie that I came out and I was like, I loved, and I really, really enjoyed, and I enjoyed the ride. Because it just, there were parts of it that was just, it really lingered. It really, really did.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies where you know it's a good movie, but the experience of it is just like, would I ever return to it? Am I going back to this?
Yeah.
Or did I enjoy it? I've experienced it, and I'll step back from it. So I wonder how this will play on repeat viewings. I'm keen to check it out again just to see if it was just the cinema experience that we had, which was horrible. Because for
Yeah.
some reason, IMAX just turned the aircon off or turned it down, which is
Yeah.
weird. So we were just sweating our ass off for the last hour and a half.
Mm.
But yeah, absolutely worth checking out in a cinema. It's the most like bang for your buck movie that you'll pay $35 to go see.
Yeah. 100%. It's yeah. It was incredible from a technical standpoint,
Oh,
but what comes with that is, a lot of trauma as well from the actual fucking material.
yeah. All right. I just want to get into some spoilers there.
Oh, do I?
I am prepared. All right. If you are keen to not be spoiled going into Killers of the Flower Moon, which is out now, so don't delay, go see it if you're keen on seeing it. It is a true story, though, so like the spoilers are kind of already out there. But if you want to remain true to the film and how Scorsese has structured and how he intends for you to see it, then step off right now. We bid you adieu, as we are going to get into some spoilers. All right,
Oh,
there.
I was gonna hit a bar right there if you said spoiler review.
We bid you adieu. Spoiler review. All right. So what worked in the film for you? Do you want to go like just bar for bar?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, cool.
So, for me, it was the actual depiction of Native Americans in this film. So, the way that Scorsese really puts Native Americans on the screen and shows them as regal and proud people in the best way possible. They weren't just like showcased as savages or people who wear loincloths. They were humans who wore normal clothes and they still, presented their heritage in such a beautiful manner. I
Hmm.
thought this was amazing.
Yeah, culturally, just it was on point. Definitely on point. And I know that he had like actual members of the Osage community and helping him put the film together
Yeah.
and shot on location, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like in Oklahoma. For me, it was the performances. So everyone really gets to shine in this.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't think of. Well, I could think of one bad performance, but everyone gets their time, even that bad performance. But it's mostly DiCaprio's movie.
Yeah, for sure. For me as well, it was the performances in here because I think I think the way Scorsese directs, he brings the best out in people as well.
Yeah,
Because DiCaprio goes from this very timid to someone who can like break down and bawl on the fucking floor,
yeah,
or just get angry and provide some kind of authority for someone who came off as timid initially.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That character arc that he's got, like everyone, you know what I mean? Like no one's one note in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, also the shots in this is crazy. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, where was the split diopter shot? And the split diopter shot is when both perspectives, even though one might be in the foreground, one might be in the background, are shown the same on even. Yeah, so that's one of Scorsese's trademarks. It was at the start when that person's looking through the tent, but they show it from two different perspectives all at the one time.
Ah.
Yeah. But also the tracking shot in here, because that's another Scorsese trademark. Tracking shot was in the house, and he does these circles going through the different rooms to show how Molly's house has changed as a result of Ernest sort of impacting her life. And it was almost that cyclical nature that repeats itself during the film, even with the tribal dance at the end, and the that cyclical nature emphasizes the habitual claiming of like native rights and land,
Hmm.
which is crazy. Yeah,
Definitely. It it's funny that I just watched fucking Boiling Point recently, but they have a tracking shot because it's a continuous shot for the 90 minutes of that film. Majority of yeah. So and it's proper too. Majority of the time is spent in a kitchen that also has a front facing like preparation station. So all the customers can see you working on like shrimp or whatever.
Yep. Hell's
The
Kitchen.
Yeah. So the way it's presented as well, it's like a backwards F, if you want to put it like that. And with them moving, that's not a lot of space for you to sort of do a one shot perfectly, but they do it so well. It's executed perfectly. Because they show you the back of the kitchen and then they'll do a 360 and people are doing something different in the preparation stations and stuff like that. But everyone's still got their line. So when you mention the tracking shot in Molly's house, it's very reminiscent of that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just sounds like that episode in The Bear.
Yeah. Big time. Funnily enough, I saw an Overcooked 2 meme when it's like 5 minutes into Overcooked 2 and it's just Kami losing his shit.
Man, the music in this movie was fucking insane. So
100%.
Robbie Robertson, who I didn't know, passed away after this film. So this is his last production that he actually composed.
No way.
But the way he infuses blues and native sounds, whether it be the vocals, the drums, and the acoustic guitars and stuff, and it runs throughout the whole movie. And it really becomes either a rhythm or a theme that for Ernest and William and Brian, which is Brian. It's Brian, but they said Byron in the movie. I know because I was reading the book, and I was like, Byron. Dude's name is Brian.
Even on IMDb, it had Byron.
What the fuck are they doing?
Also, shout out to David from fucking Last of Us.
That motherfucker. If I see him in the street, I'm punching him in the nose. He had that look, man. He was such a shifty prick.
That's all I had for what worked for me.
The rest of my stuff, production design. So Jack Fisk, that wedding ceremony, that was fucking unbelievable. It's crazy how much influence there was on the Osage Nation from, say, the British, and utilizing the uniforms and whatnot, and the hats, that sort of colonial impact on this culture, and like including it here, which is completely historically accurate. And it's beautiful to see it, because those shots would have been black and white that you've seen, because there's actual museum in Oklahoma, the Osage Museum, and all these shots are in black and white. So to see something in color is nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. The houses, the ranches, all felt period. The cars, everything. It's nuts.
Yeah. There was a lot of effort put into this.
Yeah. So also just going back to your what you were saying, the cultural presentation in the movie, whether it be births, deaths, marriages, ceremonies, prayer, they all get showcased here properly. It's not like it's a byproduct or a sideline thing. It's part of the flow of the movie and the actual story, because it's integral to the character of Molly and the Osage people that are in here. And what also worked for me, right, is they really double down on these themes of capitalism, racism, betrayal, and it informs the characters a lot. And like sometimes, even though your main character is unlikable, it was good to kind of see them not betray that and try to make them likable.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that they were a piece of shit.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, that's what worked for me. All right, let's kind of get into what didn't work.
Cool. Okay. So I think we riffed on this before, but the long takes on scenes felt exhausting. But the biggest thing about this that I want to say is that normally long takes feel exhausting after a while that you're in a movie. For me, it felt exhausting from the get-go with a lot of these long takes. I actually felt very fucking just not switched off, but I felt like I was getting disengaged when the long takes were happening. So
Yeah.
that was a very big point of contention for me. Um, and not to take away from the brilliance of this movie, but it's just more so for me. A lot of long takes just fuck me up after a while.
Yeah. I mean, if it is to showcase like the landscape and whatnot, like I love that first drive into up to William Hale's little kingdom that he's got there.
Yeah,
I really love that because yeah, you see the land, you see the house, you see the cattle, everything beautiful. Um, but like there are scenes where it really lingers. You know what I mean? And that was also mine. The length is the thing that didn't work for me. And Scorsese going, I want to use Ari Aster's uh, plotting and pacing and that horror film sort of reveal. Um, it, I don't think it really worked for what is already a long movie and a big
yeah,
story to tell. Um, but it really lingered on Ernest and the conversations, like in essence, it worked for the story, but just from an audience perspective, it kind of didn't. Because I felt that he was just this bumbling idiot. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So it was hard for me to find an in to his character. I could see the motivations and that really worked. But for me, I was like, if I don't like him, how does Molly give a shit about him?
yeah.
Like, why would you marry that creep? Why would you have 3 kids with him? Like it was like dirtbag shit.
100%. Very much a wolf in sheep's clothing type deal. Where,
Yeah.
but more so because he just has no spine when it comes to people with power.
Mm. Yeah.
It's fucking terrible. But
Mm.
my other thing that I didn't like was that the time jumps were very aplenty in this movie,
Yeah.
but you almost had to guess how long it's been since your last time jump as well. There wasn't
Yeah.
an explanation or even a time bar. I don't know if that's me being picky and wanting,
Mm.
like, to say like Oklahoma 1943 or something like that after the 20s, but I
Yeah.
felt that took me out a little bit as well because I'm seeing Ernest and Molly get married, and then I'm seeing Ernest with 2 children with Molly, and I'm like, well, what's
Yeah.
going on here now? Like, is there anything in between that we need to know about? Is there anything that's really enforced the fear that Molly and her family are feeling?
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's only because I read the book that worked for me.
Okay.
And not so much like it worked for me that it was a standout, but that I understood it.
Okay.
But like the first hour of that movie in the book is maybe a page.
Okay.
Yeah. And they just sort of like gave that time to breathe and space to breathe.
Right.
But what was I gonna say? The fuck was Brendan Fraser doing?
I have no clue.
Like I've been thinking about it. Like, is his character employed by Hale? Right? I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but is he there just to create confusion? This is my client. I haven't had a chance to speak with him.
I never understood the need for exclamation in that scene.
Thought it was like Friar Tuck ringing that fucking bell or something like that.
Yeah. Like, did
But
Scorsese give him this script in caps or something?
but I don't know if it was just there to disorient the case and the jury as well as just the court progressing at all. But it felt off. And I figured maybe that was the purpose for that scene. And then when we go into that room where he's talking to Ernest in private, is that from Ernest's perspective? And because he doesn't understand legalese, right? Because he's a fucking idiot. Is he then going, well, this is generally what the guy said to me, basically, you stupid boy?
You dumb boy.
Yeah. Like,
why is he talking like a giant?
no way. So that was the thing that just, it took me out at that point. And at that point, I was already like, this is long. We need to move this along.
Yeah. I think for me, I need to have aircon blowing on me when I watch this movie. Pause.
Yeah.
Just so, like, because I felt very uncomfortable in that cinema after the first hour.
Mm.
Like, that feeling, not when you're sweating in your armpits, but you're sweating under your titties and you can feel it sticking to your shirt. Like,
Yeah.
it's the worst feeling. And I was dressed up like a petty thug at that point, so I'm like undoing my hoodie and shit.
Yeah, man. I had like painted on jeans, you know what I mean? It was stretchy, but like they clung to the skin.
Yeah, 100%. For me, like Brendan Fraser's performance was a bit fucking weird for me too. I don't know, like, and with his introduction there, because I remember prior to that, they talk about Bill Hale having, he's got the best attorneys at his use and shit like that. And I'm like, is this the best you got? Like, is this all Sauron can muster? Sorry, no, that's all I had for my what didn't work as well. So if you want to run off yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the levity that I was talking about. So there's a line in there. There's a couple of lines, but there's one that really stuck out, and it's when Morrison, who the guy that ends up killing Anna, there's a line about him killing these kids just to get their head right, which to me, like there's some people in the cinema laughed, and I was like, cool, all right, but it's a fucking disgusting line at the end of the day. And yeah, it lends to him being a piece of shit even more than he is, but it just didn't play right for me. Just tonally, that didn't work. And I know that with this source material, Scorsese is like, where the fuck am I going to inject those lines and that feeling to kind of like keep the pacing going? And
Yeah.
it didn't even factor into dark humor. It was just like, it was disgusting. The unraveling of the plot itself. So I understand that it shouldn't focus on the whodunit aspect of the film, because it, like, they're going into the character study of this unlikable person through Ernest's eyes, whereas the book builds up Hale, played by Robert De Niro, as a member of the Osage community, and then reveals through the investigation aspect that he's really been behind it this whole time. And it's that it's just the plotting of it, whereas they gave it to you straight right from the start, just so they didn't have to sort of do like a Scooby-Doo reveal or anything like that. But I really like that aspect of the book, because it would have meant that Plemons' character gets sort of brought in a bit earlier, and he kind of goes and does his thing, whereas they didn't focus on the investigation here, and I thought it felt a little bit like sort of breezed over, because he delves into some serious shit. Scorsese, he chose to really tell you sort of what's happening and then show you. So mostly to do with the killings and the plotting, but particularly the plotting. So he tells you a lot, and then he'll show you the killing, and then they'll talk about it again. And it felt like they were really sort of dragging this out, where like they told you at the start, and then they have the court case and they tell you then, and then like it plays out, then they show you it, and I was like just from a time point of view, you'd want to move past that and like sort of inform you what happened to Hale and Ernest and everything, but it doesn't really get there at the end. And that, like, I guess that's my last point. Like, there's zero wrap up for the Osage people. And, like, maybe the cyclical nature of relocation and claiming land isn't something that's resolved but overall, no one comes up on top. Like it was disgusting. Like just sort of tackling that. Like these are people that were relocated from Kansas and Arkansas and Missouri into a place, and there's nothing that sort of comes up afterwards. They don't talk about the court case in 2011 where they won against the government and received $380 million in payments for how the government handled all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like there's zero that sort of gets wrapped up with like the Osage people. And it ends on a real sort of down note. Not that I expected a happy ending, but it just it felt really, really dour at the end of this. And I guess it's supposed to be. It's that sort of movie. But yeah, it just like there's descendants of these people that don't know if their parents or family members or whatever were killed as a result of this plot or as a result of suicide or as a result of illness or whatnot.
Yeah.
Because what's on the books is 24 people killed within that time, right?
Yeah.
But there is potentially hundreds more because of all the all the records showing these people died. So I don't know, just for perspective, at that time there were like the death rate for white people was 12%, right? 12% out of 1,000. Whereas for Osage, it was 19%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they were dying at 1.5 times the speed of everyone else.
Yeah.
And this community, like, it was good that they actually showed that the Tulsa events were very similar. That Tulsa massacre and what was kind of happening, because that was basically what was happening in Osage as well. It was just over like a much longer period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, the movie is heavy, but beautiful, but very fucking heavy.
Yeah. I'm starting to theorize now if because I feel like Scorsese always has a plan with his films on how to make you feel at the end. Some have a payoff, some don't.
Yep.
Like, for example, with Goodfellas, we get to see the ascension as well as the very swift fall of Henry Hill through his
Yep.
life, and you enjoy it at the start because he's enjoying it, and then you begin to feel the paranoia at the end. So I don't know if this movie was never meant to have any form of like emotion other than like rage and regret mixed into it, and it wasn't meant to sort of make you feel elated or have any form of levity. This is just me spitballing now. I could be 100% wrong, but
I think you're 100% right. Yeah.
so
I think
maybe
that's intentional.
Yeah, for sure.
What were we going to say? Maybe what?
I lost my train of thought, but maybe Scorsese had something to say.
He has the cameo, the last line in the film, and it's him that actually says it, which is a wild cameo. But I think that's him stepping out as an auteur going, like, I'm saying this because I believe it, but also because I deem it worthy for discussion. Like, this is the shit that we need to talk about. We need to raise awareness about. Because like besides a movie in 1926 and another FBI movie in 1951, which was more focused on FBI and like, you know, the way that bureau was sort of accelerating in awareness and leverage, like you don't really hear about it besides David Grant's book.
Yeah, true.
It's just wild. Did you have anything else?
No, that was it.
Let's get into a little tea for dessert there. Extra sugar. So Lily Gladstone was about to just throw in the fucking towel on acting. This is a wild story. and she has her credit card out. She's about to pay for and enroll in like a data analytics course. And she gets a Zoom invite, meeting request from Scorsese, which I would have just said was spam and just deleted that shit straight away.
100%.
But no, that just like completely changed her life. It's like DiCaprio was originally cast as Jesse Plemons' character, Tom White. And then DiCaprio actually went to Eric Roth and he was like, you need to change this script. And Eric Roth was like, okay. And then he went to Paramount, and Paramount was like, look, if you change the script, because DiCaprio wants to play Ernest Burkhart, it changes it into like a psychological melodrama. And they empowered DiCaprio to like forcefully do it. But they required that he then go get extra extra funding, and that's why Apple's also a producer on this, distributor.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, that completely changed the script because Scorsese was like, all right, cool, we'll turn this whole thing inside out and focus on Ernest, which is wild. It's a wild person to center. And then lastly, both George Clooney and J.J. Abrams wanted to adapt this book. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't. Can you imagine lens flare on this shit?
God. Who would have played fucking Ernest, man? We have Tom Holland as Ernest Burkhart.
God. Tom Holland is getting pressed in the jail.
You know what? If with RDJ doing such a fucking awesome job in Oppenheimer, he would have been mad as Bill Hale in this movie.
I think that would have played a lot better. Hale was only 40 years old in real life.
Oh.
Yeah, he was not the 80-year-old De Niro. Hale was 40 years old.
That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Because realistically, you don't want to be 80 years old and then trying to get your money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like the stakes would have been a lot more reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I got.
Same. I will say that overall I enjoyed this movie simply because it was a heavy subject and Martin Scorsese usually does a really great job with adapting these screenplays for the big screen. We've seen long form from Scorsese before with The Irishman, but I feel like when you put these in comparison, while I enjoy the gangster flick from Scorsese, this had a lot more emotional impact for me because of the subject matter.
Yeah. Where does this fall for you in terms of Scorsese movies?
Oh, that's a fucking tough one if I'm being honest. So, and this is going to be a hot fucking take, but understand that Goodfellas is like one of the best Scorsese movies, but Shutter Island is actually up there for me.
Wow, Shutter Island's been getting some love in recent years, and I was fucking loving seeing that shit. But yeah, Goodfellas is my number one. Goodfellas might be top 5 dead or alive films out there for me.
Yeah, for sure. But for me, it's like Shutter Island, The Departed, Goodfellas, and then I think Killers of the Flower Moon might be 5 or 6.
Shit.
Okay. Yeah, because I like this more than The Irishman. I think The Irishman was just a bit too long.
Yeah. Yeah. It is 4 minutes longer. I don't know. Irishman doesn't hit for me, but I also got to give it another chance. You know what I mean? I might have just been expecting something different.
I think the good thing with Scorsese films is that your first impression is usually your best impression.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Because he puts it all out on the table. He's not a very secretive filmmaker with a lot of his films. You don't need to search for nuance because it's presented to you.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think you're on the money with The Irishman.
What about Departed?
I fucking love The Departed, dog.
Same. I really enjoy the fucking Departed.
Yeah. Fucking Departed is my number 2.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it's Shutter Island as number one, which is fucking wild for a lot of people to think. So it's Shutter Island, Departed, and then Goodfellas for me.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think it's because in because I'm only 30 now, or 31 in 3 months, which is crazy. Exactly 3 months as well. But
You planned it.
so uh, I watched Shutter Island and Departed before I ever watched Goodfellas.
True, yeah. Yeah. One of my earliest memories is watching Goodfellas.
For me, yeah, Departed was my first film, and then Shutter Island. But there's something about Shutter Island that just I can sit down and rewatch that movie.
Yeah.
But then I think that's the same for a lot of Scorsese fare. So you can sit there and just watch fucking anything that Scorsese has.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking hell. I was just gonna like freeze frame it and be like, and I knew right then, I love The Departed.
Fuck, I might actually chuck on The Departed tomorrow.
Same. I throw on the old Shutter Island there.
Fucking earth. You have to think about it though. Shutter Island has one of the best endings ever. Because Shutter Island, you have a man who has fought through his mental illness, but chooses to side with his mental illness because it was easier than accepting the truth. Which is fucking, that's a huge that's a bar right there. That's a Scorsese bar.
Yeah.
And that's some real shit.
That is fucking big time. What the fuck did Ernest think was gonna happen? This is the shit that gets me. After the movie, I'm like finishing off the book and everything. And he thought that like his relationship would still be alright at the end. It killed me. You know that house explosion?
Yeah.
You know that he was willing, he knew it was going to happen. He was going to send his family over there to spend the night with them. But it just so happened that Cowboy, who's his son, had an earache that night and had to stay home.
That's wild.
Fucking oath. So them giving, like, Ernest that scene where he's like, you killed my babies and everything, like...
Now knowing that information, I fucking... That's dog shit. That's so dirty.
That's a fucking despicable character, man.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
never
like...
forgive you, Ernest.
Yeah, big time. I just heard that today because I was finishing off the book and I was like, that motherfucker.
Fucking hell. Maybe Scorsese made this to go hand in hand with the book.
I think he did. There's a lot of information that I thought he missed out that's captured in like the epilogue because there's another sort of investigation that goes down after the main Osage murders and trial sort of take place. There's an investigation that happens, I want to say like 90 years later. And this guy goes and he's investigating for an article that he's doing, and then uncovers all this shit. He's speaking with the granddaughters and grandsons, and there was like Ernest came back and lived in the Osage Nation. He came back and lived in Oklahoma, in Fairfax.
That's insane.
Yeah, and his kids, well, mainly Cowboy, had a relationship with him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man. That's actually heartbreaking to hear, like, your father just being like, it is what it is, let him sleep over.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's the acceptance of trauma, or that's sort of like the journey that we're on, is just like the heartbreak in the past. At the end of it, is forgiveness. Is forgiveness the outcome? A lot of times after war it is, but sometimes, man, some things are unforgivable.
Yeah, very much so. There was some shit that I was going to say before was a fucking bar as well. I completely forgot what it was. Really getting into this, that's a bar type shit.
What about?
Look at it. But fuck, what was I gonna say? It was something around forgiveness, but more so how far you actually go to please the people in power and shit like that. It was a very political fucking answer, but yeah, it'll come back eventually. I'll tweet it.
I was just randomly says it in the next episode. About forgiveness. Oh shit! All right there, Bado. It's been real.
Yep,
The
the
Yeah.
realist.
Make sure that you come back next Thursday for Scary Girl. Our thoughts on the new film releasing that day from Nathan Juravicious, Aussie production. Sam Neill on the vocals.
Ooh.
Ooh, child. But yeah, follow us on all social media: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe. Just helps us get into more spaces, get that content, and bring it back to you. Love yourself. Love movies.
Vape more, smoke less, and wash your ass.